Hi, Mike here with another Badonsky Buccaneers video fishing report. In this episode, we're headed for the beautiful Florida Keys and return to a favorite place we like to stay while here, the Atlantic Bay Resort. Located on the bay side of the extreme southern end of Key Largo in Tavernier, it's an older but newly remodeled facility. There are many different rooms and cottages to choose from, but our biggest interest is the on-site dock, boat ramp, and trailer and boat storage. Not to mention this time of year it's usually uncrowded and quiet. We had a lot of rainy weather to contend with on this trip, but Thursday we took the boat and launched at a public ramp site on Indian Key Fill, then headed to a creek channel where I knew there might be some bait we could use for some inshore action. After finding some pilchards on the eastern end, it only took a couple of throws with the cast net and we had enough in the live well to make an afternoon of it. We headed northwest from there towards some mangrove islands, and after trying to dodge a couple of showers, found a nice location to catch some mangrove snapper and anything else that might be hiding there. We broke out our favorite 10 to 15 pound class inshore combos and threw our baits at and under the deep edges around the mangroves. It also sometimes helps to throw a handful of baits in the area you intend to fish to get things fired up and entice the larger fish that might be hiding to come out and feed. Here I'm hooked up with a modest-sized mangrove snapper. You have to be careful because the larger fish will try and run back into the mangrove roots where they can get you tangled up and break you off. Mangrove snapper, also called gray snapper, are native to the Atlantic and Gulf of Mexico locally, as well as the Caribbean Sea and northeast coast of South America, and have been found as far north as Massachusetts. Their habitats vary and can be found in all saltwater structure areas like these inshore mangroves, all the way to offshore wrecks and reefs, and even in freshwater creeks, rivers, and springs and along the Florida coast. Mangrove snapper are highly sought after by anglers from beach, pier, kayak, and boat. They are abundant in South Florida, spawning up to several times during the summer months, so it makes them not only a popular but fairly easy game fish for families to target as they keep the kids entertained with bent rods. Not to mention they make great table fare. They are typically caught as inshore species as juveniles and up to about 13 inches or so and weighing up to a couple of pounds, while larger fish are usually found offshore ranging from 12 to 16 inches or so and weighing up to about 8 to 15 pounds. And the Florida record for mangrove snapper is 16.5 pounds. Here in Florida, the recreational regulations for these snapper are a minimum 10-inch tail length, and we are allowed to keep 5 per person per day, while the federal and Alabama limits read a minimum length of 12 inches tail length and 10 per person per day. This particular fish gave me a bit of a fight and ran up into the mangrove roots, and I eventually had to muscle him out. A real good testament to the Power Pro braided line I was using though. We caught a few of these larger fish here while weeding through a lot of smaller ones. Most of our larger fish were only a couple of pounds or so, but we had a lot of fun fishing for them here. Mangrove snapper are voracious predators and will take almost any type of live or dead baits as well as some lures, but you'll notice the larger ones may be a bit more wary, and because of this and the clear Florida Keys water, we're using a fluorocarbon leader and a small #1 owner live bait hook with our live pilchards. If you've noticed, a lot of these little mangrove islands are surrounded by very shallow grassy flats and bars. Some may have a channel or two going through it, making access easier. Nevertheless, it is best to be familiar with the area and tide information before planning a fishing excursion like this, or you could end up grounded in high and dry. Our Blue Wave Pure Bay 2200 only drafts about 15 inches of water when lightly loaded, and that's important information to know before going into these shallow areas, even though I suggest staying close to the channels. I really recommend experienced boaters in smaller bay boats or skiffs try navigating these areas with the use of some sort of push pole as not to damage these delicate grassy flats with their outboard engines. Something else extremely useful is to have a good GPS with premium navigational software that has a satellite overlay so you can see those shallow bars and channels. We use our Lowrance HDS-10 with a Navionics Platinum navigational software and update it often. As Cookie pulls in this last fish, let me ask you to stay tuned for Mike's Tackle Box coming up next, and we'll look at some of the gear we used on this trip.
Hi, Mike here with another Mike's Tackle Box. Today I wanted to go over the equipment and rods and reels we were using on this inshore expedition. I was using my Quantum Smoke 50 PTS with 20-pound Power Pro braided line and a Fenwick HMG 7-foot rod with a medium to heavy action. Now Chris put me onto these Fenwick rods about a year ago. They're nice, light, good action, and they won't break the bank. Of course, the Smoke inshore reels are nice, lightweight. They have a heavy drag system and really helped me out whenever I was pulling those snapper back out of the trees. Teresa was using her Pin Sargus on a Shakespeare ugly stick rod. Now the Pin Sargus have been out of production for a few years, but it's still doing just as well as its newer counterpart, the Pin Battle. Braxton was using his Pin Battle 4000 series on a 7.5-foot Star Segis rod. That is a medium to heavy action. Now the Pin Battle, since it's been re-released, has been doing very well. He was also using a 20-pound Power Pro braided line. Also, because of those super clear Florida Keys waters, we used a fluorocarbon leader. This is 20-pound Momoy. Also used a smaller #1 owner live bait hook. Put it through the nose of those pilchards and threw them out there, and it worked very well for us. We attached the fluorocarbon to the braided line with a standard Albright knot. The other piece of equipment that I mentioned in the video is some sort of push pole to use whenever you're navigating those shallow grassy areas without tearing things up. This is Super Stick's collapsible model. It's 612, which is 6 feet fully collapsed and 12 feet fully extended. Has a locking cam on it. You extend it to the length that you want to lock it down. It's not going to slip or slide. Has a removable duck foot on the end of it, and you can attach different accessories too. The nice thing about the 612 version is it fits right into our rod compartments on the boat. We utilize this to get around the island and also to stake the bow of the boat off in conjunction with our power pole so we can position it just right so everybody got a good vantage point to fish that island while we were there. Well, that's going to about wrap it up for this edition of Mike's Tackle Box. Y'all have a great day and be safe out there.
Before closing this episode, I'd like to just say that despite the weather, we had a really good time visiting the Florida Keys this year, and I'd like to mention a few of the places we had the opportunity to visit and enjoy. Robbie's on Isla Mirada, where you can grab a meal at the Hungry Tarpon, including breakfast and those wonderful blueberry pancakes. Visit the shops, feed the tarpon at the docks. These are some really awesome fish. You might also see manatees, jacks, stingrays, nurse sharks, or other aquatic life there. The No Name Pub on Big Pine Key, where you can stop for a fast beverage with friends or order the best pizza on the Keys. The Green Turtle Inn restaurant, wine, spirits, or the Florida Keys Outfitter stores. Snappers Dockside Dining in Key Largo, featuring great food and live music. Key Largo Conch House and Catering, a unique family experience. Worldwide Sportsman and Marina on Isla Mirada, which has some unique displays and lots of merchandise. The Florida Keys Memorial, erected in honor of the lives lost during the Labor Day hurricane of 1935. Aquarium Encounters marine displays located on Marathon in the Vaca Cut. It features interactive displays like the tidal pool where you can touch and feel the aquatic life there. Stingray Cove where you can pet and feed the animals there. A large tank with fish you can interact with and a dive program, and another large fish tank with sharks. Last but not least, the Juice Paradise Cuban Cafe where you can order some authentic Cuban cuisine and some really good sandwiches. That wraps up Badonsky Buccaneers video report. We hope you enjoyed it and found it both informative as well as entertaining. On our next video report, Northern Gulf Amberjack. Keep an eye out for it. Thanks for watching and have a blessed day.